Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Alli, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Arruda, and if you were wondering, where's Alli on Alli's Inspire and Move podcast, today's going to be a little bit different. If you're listening to this today, January 16th, 2026, then today is Alli's, my wife's, 40th birthday. So today, the episode is going to look a little different. It's actually not really a podcast. It's going to be more like a letter. So here we go. Hey, love. This is a letter to you on your 40th birthday from someone who's already taken a few steps into this decade, and I can tell you, it's not what most people actually make it out to be. 40 isn't about slowing down. 40 isn't even about necessarily thinking that you're supposed to slow down, that you've already created. It's actually about finally seeing things clearly for you and being able to execute based on all of the incredible things that you've already come to learn and have shared with so many others up to this point. I wanted to record this so you'd have something you can come back to, not just today, but on days you forget how much you've already built, how much you already are, and how prepared you actually are for what's next. You've been more impactful to so many people in your first 40 years that you don't understand the impact that you have left to give over the course of your next 40 years has been based on all of the lessons you've learned, all of the people that you've met, and all of the work that you've done, not just on yourself, but on everything leading up to this moment in your life so that you can be the incredible version of a woman that you are today. So this is my letter to you from one side of 40 to the other. Happy birthday, Alli. Okay, so the idea behind this letter isn't necessarily to acknowledge that you're turning 40 years old. You've crossed that bridge already. This is a letter from the other side showing that 40 isn't necessarily a milestone, but more of an inflection point for you. This isn't a birthday card. It's a letter almost from the future. It isn't about what you think you've lost by the time you got to this age, or what you think needs to necessarily slow down, or what you haven't done by this age. It's about what finally has started working. I wanted to record this so you can return to it, not just today, but anytime you forget just who you are, how incredibly powerful you are as a leader in the community, as a friend to your circle, as a force in our family, and the absolute backbone of everything spectacular in my life. What turning 40 actually taught me was that clarity always ended up beating intensity. And by that, I mean a little less hustle, a little more precision. I look at it more as something along the lines of, as I do in so many other parts of my life, like sports. You're not necessarily looking to run from one side of the court or the field as quickly as you can because you can only need to rely on your sheer strength and your sheer speed and your sheer hustle. Now that you've gotten to this point in your life, you can call in a ton of experience. You can call in strategy. You know where to be, when to be there, and how to implement the tools that you've collected along the way. Your energy has also become a currency that you want to protect. You used to give it away as often as anybody ever asked for it. You get to this stage and this part of the hill, and you realize that it's that energy that sets you apart from doing things well and doing things great. So you're going to protect it, and that's going to be okay. Not just because it's something that you feel you need for yourself, but it'll allow you to put it into the exact containers for the exact people that actually need it more than most. Success now is going to feel a little bit quieter, but it's going to feel a hell of a lot deeper. There's going to be fewer dopamine hits, but there's going to be a hell of a lot more peace. You're going to find more alignment. You're going to come at things from a place of more confidence because you've done them before, because you know the formula on how to get there. You're no longer just throwing whatever you can at the wall. Some will stick, some will not. You'll learn regardless, but now you're going to do it with a little bit more efficiency, and you're going to have a lot better target along the way. I also find that past this stage, you're going to really learn to trust yourself. You're going to stop second guessing as much. You're going to move faster. You're not going to take as long for recovering from mistakes. You're going to find the ways in which you learn the lesson, you move on, and you implement this so that you can be the greatest version of yourself as often as you can. And as I say this, I realize you've already been living some of this already. You have been an incredible part of many people's lives because of all of these kinds of skill sets that you've honed in on early, that you've crafted, that you've been very specific with, and you've implemented in your life so that other people can see it and then implement it in theirs too. You're a natural born leader. It's what we all love you for. Now let's celebrate you up to this point. This isn't necessarily a list of your compliments as a list per se, although God knows there are a ton of them. Everything from opening up multiple businesses, from running multiple programs, from succeeding and failing, but using that failure to get up and trying to succeed that much faster. You've been on magazine covers. You've been asked to speak at events, and you're sought after in your industry for being the girl who's got the greatest energy out of anybody in the room. And that is consistent. And that's your superpower. You are consistent. It's not that bad things won't happen, because they do. It is your bounce back rate that makes you so remarkably special. There are times where you rose when it was uncomfortable. There were choices that you made when no one was watching. It's how you handled seasons of uncertainty, of partnership and sacrifice, all behind closed doors and behind the curtain. You have an infectious smile. You have an incredible energy about you that when anybody sees you, it might not be hard for them to think, does she ever have a bad day? And while you do, it doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define where you're going. And it's that kind of nonstop energy to do it from a heart-centered place that makes you so magnetic to everybody that comes into your circle. You put in a lot of invisible work. You have growth that doesn't get applauded. You become a person who builds and creates an identity when people aren't watching. You put in a ton of emotional labor into whatever it is you choose you want to do, because what you choose you want to do genuinely comes from a place that you want to be impactful in. You're not riding trends. You're not looking at what the greatest and next thing is. You do it from a place that you know is meant to serve and to make you the best version of you. The proof's there. You didn't need to turn 40 to unlock this power. You've arrived at 40 already trained. You have not been untested, that's for sure. And because of what it is that you've brought with yourself to this part of your journey, you're ready to unlock decades more of increasing your impact, increasing your skill set, adding to your tool set, and unbelievably becoming a greater woman than you are already up to this point. And that's saying quite a bit. You're going to know that as a means of being able to reframe aging as more in a way of you accelerating, you realize that there's going to be less comparison. There's going to come with stronger intuition. I know that time, health, relationship, and legacy are important to you. The good news is you're going to be able to find out exactly when you can pour in from your bucket into each one of these containers so as to ensure that everything's looked after, so as to ensure that everybody knows that you're coming at this from a place that you genuinely want to impact in. You're building with wisdom now. You're not going to be coming from a place where you hope it works, or you heard it might work, or you saw somebody once do it, so that means you can do it just as easily. You know that your formula is different. Your formula is unique, and that's what makes you you. But the ability to create and the ability to execute is going to come with you knowing that you've walked down this path before. You're modeling something bigger now, not just for our family, but for everybody who is watching you, for all the women specifically who watch you live your life so fully and for whom you give all of the inspiration necessary for them to do the same. It's not just, this whole decade isn't just going to be what you're going to achieve. It's about who you're going to give permission to so that they can become as wonderful and as impactful and as enlightening of a human being as you have been for them moving forward. I hope you remember that you are never behind, that you're always moving at the exact speed that you were supposed to, and that the parts of your last 40 years where you felt you took a step back, if it wasn't for you to learn a lesson, it was for you to ask yourself, why is this happening for me, not to me? I hope you remember that the rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. And speaking to a girl who I know loves to always move, there is strength in moving in silence. There is strength in not moving at all, especially for someone who's so well integrated into fitness and for somebody who recognizes the importance of it. You know that rest days are only a means of allowing you to come back stronger tomorrow. I hope you remember that your value is never up for debate. You might have slower times of years. You might have programs that don't do what you feel that they should, impact that you feel should be felt, that it isn't necessarily to question what your intentions are. I hope you remember that our family doesn't just grow because of what you do, but more importantly, it grows because of who you are. And I can say that's more of the same for our entire community. What you bring every day to everybody that is lucky enough to be in your circle is something that they then take and contagiously spreads to the rest of their own communities moving forward. You're the synergy that starts the whole thing. And I hope you remember that this next chapter shouldn't feel heavier just because it has a 4 in front of it. I can tell you that 2 or 3 years into it myself, what it allows you to feel is actually freer. I promise for you, for the next decade, that when I see you moving too quickly, I'll remind you of all of the power that comes in slowing down. This is an invitation for you to listen to this again at 50 and see that you came nowhere near your peak up to this point in your life. All you've done is take another step on your runway that gets you to cut to the speeds necessary to land exactly where I know you are meant to land. Happy 40th birthday, my love. This isn't just the beginning, and you're more than ready than you know. If this is the version of you at 40, I can't wait to meet who you become in the next decade. Either way, you know that I'll be here riding shotgun, pushing you forward, and ensuring that all you have to give is always your best. Even though I know when push comes to shove, it will be you ensuring that all of us are doing the best we can, because your heart is the greatest gift that you can give to anybody that you know. And you don't let anybody ride shotgun without knowing that they too have the capability of being the best versions themselves. We're lucky to know you. We're lucky to love you. And we're grateful for you in our lives. Happy birthday, my love.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.